Glad to have you back. The youth play a critical role in shaping the transformation of any nation, and this can be the experience over the centuries, whether it is developed or an emerging economy. Nigeria, with a population of over 200 million people, has an interesting demography of young people who are energetic, vibrant, and full of prospects to make impact in the nation. In its continued efforts to harness the skills of youths in the country towards innovation, entrepreneurship, and productivity, the federal government has launched several youth engagement initiatives to tackle unemployment, youth restiveness, and increase the country's human capital development. In line with this vision, the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development launched the DEL initiative, aimed at giving Nigerian youth an added advantage and a competitive edge in the global workforce, as well as the 75 billion naira Nigerian Youth Investment Fund to support youth-owned business and investment needs. Well, we have joining me live from Abuja studios to discuss this and many more. She's a special assistant to the Minister of Youth and Sports Development on ICT and Corporate Relations, Ms. Oluwakemi Ariola. Ariola, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, sir. How are we today? I'm
very well. Yes, I was looking at the figures. Nigeria's unemployment rate, 33.3%. Underemployment, 22.8%. Now, this is my first question. How does this come to you? Before we now look at efforts being made by government to actually restructure or rearrange all of the narratives so that we can at least tell another story.
Yes, definitely. Once we came into office, we do understand this unemployment rate is actually increasing. So us stepping into office, we decided conceptualize the DEAL program, which is DEEL, digital skills, employability, and entrepreneurship and leadership. When COVID came in as well, COVID really affected a lot of things because we did decide that what the most important thing to do was wealth creation for young people. But we realized that it could no longer be done in the employment sector because, as you know, COVID has caused a lot of people to actually lose their jobs. So what's most important now, and one of our major areas of concentration, is to make sure that we ramp up the numbers of entrepreneurs in Nigeria. So we're making sure that we put in everything possible to create a good number of Nigerian entrepreneurs.
Very good one. Let's start with Youth Investment Fund, which I think that's supposed to be like for 300K per beneficiary, and about 41,000 will be covered in the first tranche of 12.5 billion. How receptive? How has all of these schemes? Can you take us through maybe some other ones and how you think it has impacted so that Nigerians really understand and even hear some of the figures?
Okay, so it's very important for us to understand that what's important here is for us to ensure that we empower as many people as possible. So as the federal government would love to give, each person 10, 20 million naira each. But when we do that, it won't be possible for a good number of people to benefit from it. So it's very important for us to make sure that these figures are at a level where a good number of people can benefit. So at the moment, last year we saw a good number of people receive 1 million, 2 million, and some other figures. But this year, we've had to take those figures down in order to increase the spread. That's in the NYIF itself. And we're not just giving the money, we're ensuring that we give good training before they receive the money. Last year, we gave 10 young Nigerians 1 million naira each for the 60-day app challenge, which is one of the things that's very important to us because innovation is, is the center of any economy, basically. We're also working on we've trained about 100,000 Nigerian youths in partnership with IBM, Google, and Microsoft. We're still working on that. We're still increasing the numbers. So what we do is once we finish training you, we give you this loan. It's a loan. I think that's very important that we allow everyone to know that. Then also, after training, we ensure that each person has starter kits. So immediately you finish training, you can go, the next day you can start up your own business. So we're not just waiting for employers to come and take up these people that we've trained. We're making sure that we empower them and we invest in them so that they are able to pick up some people in their neighborhood as well, within their communities. So for every one person we train and equip, we know that at least 10 to 20 other persons will also benefit from it. We've done a lot in robotics and artificial intelligence as well. We're also doing a lot of vocational training. So we group a number of geopolitical zones in a particular area. We've done training in Jos. We're currently doing training in Odiamu. We've done some training in Owode Egba. We're training in things like catering. We're training in things like mobile device repair, leather work. So it's broad spectrum, as well as sort of Internet of Things and cloud computing. So we're making sure that we don't sideline the vulnerable Nigerian youths, the grassroots Nigerian youth, you know, in the rural area. So we're making sure that all these schemes get to everyone, both the privileged and the underprivileged.
Sounds very good. But I see this focus on digital, ICT, that way. I think that's the route to go now. Why so much focus along that route?
Well, you know, as you said, digital is the way forward now, and that was one of our major focuses in the beginning. But then when COVID came in, it made it very, very paramount, because we have this work experience program that we do. What it was to do was to make, what it is doing is to get young persons, give them a foot in the door where they get into organizations and they're taken in as interns. And if they perform really well, they can be retained. We pay their stipend. So a lot of organizations were really ready to take as many as possible. But then COVID came in and people couldn't physically go to work anymore. So training on digital skills now has enabled us to even move that work experience program to a digital work experience program as well. So now we can get young persons into organizations virtually, so they're still able to gain that work experience without, you know, COVID hindering things so much. As you know, the digital is taking over everything that we do, and we're making sure that our young Nigerians can compete with their peers on a global scale in areas of innovation, like I said, app development and so on.
Now, I want to also ask the level of response. Now, I'm also impressed, really, with that work experience program, because I actually went through it and I saw some students talking about their experience with IBM and some very notable companies. That is really commendable, I must say. But what's been the response like when you throw in these applications, the way people run in? How receptive would you say Nigerians? How are they taking all of these programs? How enlightened are they about the basics of some of these programs?
Oh, it's really amazing. I'm very impressed by our Nigerian youth. They are 100% ready to key into all the opportunities that the federal government does roll out. I think in the beginning there was a bit of a pushback, because our young persons believed that these things weren't free and fair and they weren't open to everyone, and they felt that they were only given to a selected few. But, you know, since over the last number of months, since we've been in office, you know, a good number of people have been trained, and they can see that it's free for everyone, and a lot of people are benefiting from it. So we seem to be getting a good number of people joining every day. Every minute we open an application, you know, within hours, we've literally got, you know, 20s of thousands. And I must say we've got one just starting next week, which will be training 5,000 Nigerian youth. So I would implore our Nigerian youth to keep their ears to the ground and make sure that immediately that form is available, they key in and they benefit from it, because a good number of people have benefited. Not just, like I said, we're trying to make sure that we don't only cater for the elite, but we also reach the grassroots and make sure that people in the rural areas can also get it. And they come out in their numbers. They're really interested in this training because they can see the way others are benefiting. You know, when we had the Innovation Awards, we had a young lady that was making clothing from pure water sachets, and she's been able to get loans and grants, and her business keeps growing, and people within that local area are really keying into that. So we want to see more of that happen in a good number of areas across the country.
And now I also want to get this clear, because we need to let people understand that this is not a grant but a loan, because some people think when they get monies like this, it's a grant and they don't even want to pay back. What's also being done? Monitoring. You already done some evaluation already for me, but I'll still say monitoring and more of evaluation of these schemes.
So that's why, because a lot of people were skeptical about giving their BVN in the beginning. So your BVN is used to track your financial transactions. So once we've given you this loan, your BVN can track you and ensure that this money is paid back. But then, what Nigerian youth need to understand is for us to build our economy and for us to ensure that there is an environment where businesses can thrive. For those of us that exist now and those that are coming after us, it's important that this keeps on rolling and keeps on going. If you take the money and you don't pay back, then the person coming behind you would obviously be disadvantaged. So it's very important that our young people know that this is a loan and it's key that you pay back. But then also as a government, we're also monitoring and making sure that this money is paid back. So your BVN is there to monitor you.
All right, a country of 200 million people, there must be challenges. Can you just let us know a few of the challenges, maybe those that have even been addressed, but what are the challenges in all of these schemes? It's not really easy, I must confess, and I know it's not really been easy.
Yes, definitely. No, it hasn't been easy. One of the major challenges is the numbers. We have a massive number to cater for, and everyone, like you said, what's the response? The response is amazing. Everybody wants to be part of everything. But if you think about it, my dear brother, it's very difficult for us to cater for 63 million Nigerian youth. As much as we would love to have 63 million youth in every single training, it's just not possible. So one of the challenges is to try to ensure that we get as many young persons into training as possible. And, and the end product is obviously to make them entrepreneurs. But that's rather difficult because of the vast number that we have to work with. But we keep going. When we did first come in, like I said, there was a bit of resistance. So it was very difficult to get people to believe in what we were doing and to understand that, we were here to make a difference. So even when people wanted to attend the trainings, they weren't doing it with 100% of their mind. But now I believe we've been able to turn that around and things are changing. And as I said, one of the issues as well was the fact that we want to create wealth for our young people. The number of unemployed underemployed is massive. We can't get everyone employed, even though we would love to. So that's one of the major problems. When COVID came in, it reduced the number of jobs that were actually out there, even though there weren't enough as well. So we're trying to work around those challenges.
All right, so what more are we expecting? COVID is almost off. We are hopeful that we won't have a third wave, so we shouldn't drop our guards. We should keep on washing our hands, maintaining social distancing according to the PTF, so we shouldn't rule that all out. But it's getting better, at least fairly. I think yesterday we had about 37 cases. What more are we expecting as we free up the economy?
Oh, yes, definitely. There's so much more that we have in the bag. We have training to employment. With training to employment, what we're looking at is to find out from the employers what skill sets do you need from our Nigerian youth, and we are training them to have that particular skill set. So it's not that we're just training you and there's nothing for you at the end of it. We're continuing with our training to entrepreneurship. And we're ensuring that the Nigeria Youth Investment Fund gets to as many young people as possible. We'll continue to do our digital training. Like I said, we've got one that we're launching next week. I always say to all our youth, make sure you keep watching us online, because every day, literally every week, we release new things, and it's very important that you follow to see what is available. What else do we have? Our work experience program, like I told you, we're still working on that. So I'm hoping that all our youth have subscribed and are waiting for an opportunity for them. And what's really great now is that a lot of the private sector companies are partnering with us, and they're working with us to make sure that they assist us in helping getting our Nigerian youth ready for work, because being ready for work is very important. It's not just getting you into the work. And so in the entrepreneurship area as well, once you're ready for work, then we know that your business will probably have a better chance at thriving. So these collaborations with the private sector are amazing for us, and we want to keep on training as many more youth as possible. We are not relenting our digital skills. We're working with all the states across Nigeria, the state governments, to ensure that we deliver ICT training at grassroots level as well, not just from Abuja alone. So we're working all across the country.
Grassroots is key. Before I let you go on a lighter note now, Oluwakemi, let's talk about 40 going on 80, your book. We are going to talk about this some other time, but I just flipped around it yesterday, and just give us an overview. Let me just let you speak on that for like 2 minutes as we wrap up this interview. Tell us what it's about.
Oh, 40 going on 80. I didn't know we were going to speak about that.
I know.
But that's a book I wrote in January this year. It's about a young lady's journey in Nigeria. And it's something to encourage young people to continue to push. It's about my journey and how much I've pushed and how it gives me joy every day to be able to to encourage more people to follow in my line. So yes, 40 going on 80 is just about my memoir, my journey, and how I can help other people that are coming after me.
All right, indeed, there you are really making an impact. I must thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. I know you're busy. Thank you so much. Special Assistant to the Minister of Youth and Sport on ICT and Corporate Relations, Ms. Oluwakemi Ariola. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it again.
Thank you so much.
All right then.